And joining us now is Nancy Stencil from Marathon County. Nancy, how are you?
I'm great. So good to
Right.
be back on your show again. Thank you.
I know. Well, here's the thing. I imagine when we first started Up North News, I envisioned that we were going to do a whole lot with Wausau, with Mayor Katie Rosenberg, with all kinds of folks. And then this guy, Chad Holmes, shows up. And Chad is has got more talent. He's locally based. He's younger. He's more handsome, and I just can't compete with that. So he takes care of all that good Wausau coverage from 8 to 10 in the morning. But every so often, I got to get I got to get an update from Central Wisconsin, and that's why I'm glad you came along because you have been so tireless on so many different issues. I think most notably clean water, though, and
Yep.
there's been a lot of talk about the PFAS in the water and getting that cleaned up and the work that Katie Rosenberg and you and many others have done. But there's still threats to the water cleanliness as well, especially for proposed mining, which seems to be a perpetual thing there and will be, as long as people like Tom Tiffany are allowed in positions of responsibility. What has 2023 been like in terms of water protection for the Northwoods, for people like you?
Well, it's been quiet, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we are relentless with our continuing education on it. We have the Bend and the Reef have been pretty silent. I've done at the university level, I've done a PowerPoint to just like get everybody up to speed so they know what's going on. I chair the Coalition to Save the Menominee River up in Marinette, Menominee. And there we continue our work. Goro, the company up there, Gold Resource, their stock is just declining. I think it was down to it bottomed at like 26 cents a share. I think they're back up to around 29. And we watch that because the price of gold is kind of going up right now. And then recently this year, the focus has really been on Copperwood, where they want to put a mine in the Porcupine State Park, if you can believe that.
Oh yeah, I can totally believe it.
Yep, with a tailings dam that slopes and will, if anything goes wrong, and we know it will, would put heavy metals and everything else and contaminate Lake Superior. And yeah,
Yeah.
how
And,
can they do that?
And here's the thing. There was on the books for the longest time in Wisconsin a very simple premise that you can come mine if you can prove that
Prove it
somewhere
first.
else, prove it first that you've done it cleanly, and that even after the mine was no longer operating for a certain period, it still didn't contaminate. If that's what you can do, then come and do it. But if you're coming here just to extract and then pollute the water and do all this damage, that's not a great thing. But again, unless you're like Tom Tiffany and other people who are just looking at the short term, here are some people making a paycheck for a little while. And I would, by the way, add to that, I can look out my window and see an empty, an abandoned sand plant. And there's
Yep.
abandoned sand plants and sand mines all over Chippewa County and other environs. I don't know what makes people think the same thing wouldn't happen up there by you.
It was totally boom and bust there by you. And not only that, but Tom Tiffany and his cronies allowed mining companies to rewrite that bill. And they rewrote it because, I mean, obviously, no one could ever prove it first. They did like recently sign off, the DNR signed off on the Flambeau mine, but that's still Stream C is void of any life yet today.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get back to prove it first. Our friends in Minnesota have. They're watching diligently. They're not going to let some Canadian company come in and destroy your properties for the sake of a little bit of what gold. We have a ton of gold. We don't need to be mining for more. And this isn't, I think what people don't understand is this not going to create jobs here. It's not. Most of these companies bring in their own, and not only bring in their own, but when the mining that they're doing today, 99% of what they bring up out of the earth is waste rock. And that's what goes in these tailings dams. This is where the tailings dams break. You got heavy metals entering your waterways. And God knows we've got enough problems with water, with PFAS and everything else.
And the thing is isn't there also a concern that even just the test drilling to look for potential, mining locations, couldn't the test drilling itself cause harm to the water table?
Yes, it can. They are finding, I think Pennsylvania was the last state now that is going to ban. There's like certain secret ingredients that they can put in drilling fluids, and they don't have to disclose all their trade secrets. Colorado has banned PFAS in drilling fluids. It's used as a coolant. And now Pennsylvania has. There's other states that are looking into this too. You're drilling a hole in the ground. You are drilling through an aquifer. What's to say what gets in water?
Right. Let's get one positive note in here. And again, the work is far from over, but I think folks around Wausau are going to look back at 2023 as a year of progress in terms of setting up the infrastructure to pull PFAS out of the drinking water.
Yes. There's been a lot of people in the background working very hard to hold people accountable for this so that it stops.
Well, I'm glad you said accountable, because that's the main thing Republicans in the legislature have been fighting, is any sense of accountability and, help with the cleanup potentially.
On any level. Yeah. Totally pro-business. We need business, but we need our water as well. And water is a source. It's not a resource. It's not will last forever. I mean, what we have is what we have, and we need to take care of it.
That's right. And I mean, again, there are people just amazingly envious, licking their lips from the desert Southwest and other places about the water that we have. Nancy Stencil is our guest here. We're going to pause and take a look at the weatherology forecast here.